Hi there, so glad to see you again. I'm bringing you another nice short little practice, so something you can sneak into your day at any point in time, at the end of the day, middle, beginning perhaps. This one's kind of focused on if you're out there and you're golfing and playing tennis this season, or even in the wintertime. This is really good to help balance both sides of the body, help find stability in your swing, and all the while trying to really create equal amount of strength and stability in one side of the body and the other, because you definitely favor one hand or one arm when you're doing that type of activity. So even if you don't play these two sports, perhaps you have another task that you do and you use one side of your body pretty often, then this practice is perfect for you. So I'd like us to begin in a child's pose shape. So bringing ourselves onto our hands and knees is a nice way to begin. And if you have a little bit of lower back tenderness and you know that already, you can keep your knees together and untuck your toes and just allow your hips to fall back toward your heels. And there's lots of variations we can take in this shape. We can reach the arms forward and try to direct the forehead down to be resting. And if the forehead doesn't reach the ground, we can easily make little fists with our hands, place it under the forehead, and just allow some things to soften here through the neck and shoulders. And you can, of course, use props if you have a block or something underneath your hips or underneath your forehead. And you can also take your knees wide if your lower back feels okay and you like to lower your belly a little more down. So we'll take just 3 nice beginning breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose. Just enjoying some spaciousness in the back of your shoulders. Letting everything heavy. Using your exhale especially to create a little more weight in the body, of feeling a quality of weight. And just one more nice, slow, sweet breath. And then we'll slowly start to pick ourselves up onto our hands and knees, lifting the hips up off the heels, planting the palms. So we'll make sure that the wrists are under the shoulders and our knees are under hips. And I like to tuck my toes in this shape. It's up to you if you like to try that too. And feel free to sway a little bit into your hands if this is the first time you've had your wrist bending at this type of angle today or at this time. And just lean back and forth, front and back. Maybe you circle your torso over top of your limbs, over top of your hands. And then looking down gently between the middle fingers or the first fingers of your hands, just gently looking and lengthening your neck. Try to bend the first knuckle of your fingers so you can grip the ground, even your thumbs, just hold onto the ground. And then start to push the ground away from whatever portions of your hands are still touching the ground, lengthening up the arms. And then inhale to take your tail up. Allow your spine to ripple through, your breath to ripple through your spine and your belly to drop. The heart reaches forward, maybe the chin lifts up and perhaps you look up. And then as your exhale starts to come in toward your body or leave your body, start to tuck your tail in, rounding through the spine. And take your time to try to focus on creeping through every little piece of your spine. Tuck your chin to chest. And we'll go through a couple of these. So we'll inhale to take your tail up and take your time. Maybe you use the grip of your mat, pulling your hands and your knees apart to feel more spaciousness between the front lines of your body. And just continue to breathe. We'll do maybe one more round depending on whatever speed you like to take, whatever your natural rhythm of your breath is right now. Remember to bend those knuckles, push the ground away. Just kind of control the ripple through your spine. And then we'll come into a neutral shape when you're ready. So just finishing up your last round. Bringing our spine just into a restful shape, coming up onto our fingertips, so as if you're trying to kind of protect something underneath your hand, bringing yourself all the way up on your finger pads, and just notice how this feels for you at first. Push the ground away to lengthen your arms. Feel the flesh moving around your finger pads. So along with golf and tennis, having grip strength is super important here. So let's try to strengthen through the hands. And we'll go through cat and cow just like this, up on our finger pads. So inhale, take the tail up, Ripple through the spine, reach your heart up and lift your chin. Might feel kind of fantastic being a little higher up here. Tuck your tail in, round yourself through, and just notice how you move around on the tips of your fingers. And we'll just do 2 more, so we'll make it 3. Just pushing yourself away, noticing any discomfort through your hands, and pushing past that little bit of edge. Just learning something a little different about your body. That's the types of things that it can create, the types of sensations you can feel. And then coming back to a neutral shape when you finished your flow, walk your finger pads a little closer toward your knees. So maybe a hand distance toward your knees. And then we'll try that again. So sticking your tail up, a little less room here, a little more squeeze for your back. And then tucking your tail in and rounding in. Just one more time, so just a couple times to get a feel for being a little more huggy toward your back, a little more hug toward your front body. And then bring your hands back to plant down. Find your first knuckles gripping or bending, trying to hold the ground, and notice that really strange different sensation going through 2 more cat and cows. And tuck your tail under, use the grip of your hands, find every little piece of your spine. And then when you're ready, coming back to that neutral shape, so rechecking yourself, your knees under your hips, wrists under shoulders, tuck toes or not, it's absolutely up to you. And just make sure you have room to lengthen a leg behind you. So inhale, take your right leg long behind you, hovering over the ground. So you can push through the ball of your foot, peeling the toes back, or you can flex the heel, whatever feels best on your leg. And just feeling length here, noticing where the weight is distributed in your hands. And then favoring your right hand, bend your first knuckles, find some grounding here, push the ground away, and see if you can walk your left fingertips toward the end of the mat, and then perhaps reaching the arm up alongside your ear. So reaching the leg, your right leg behind you, your left leg in front. Take a great big inhale to feel length, push the ground away from you with your right hand, and then you exhale, draw the elbow toward the knee underneath your torso. We'll go through this flow a few times. Inhale to reach forward and back. And exhale to bring it on back in toward the center. So let's do 3 more. Inhale to reach out, and exhale to gather in. Use your breath. Notice if your breath feels a little labored here. Notice if your elbow starts to bend, your right elbow. Feel your abdominals really turn on and engage here, trying to hold you in this space. And then reach your limbs out long, plant your left hand back down, swing the lower half of your left leg to the side with your toes tucked, and then start to get light in your right hand. Set your right foot down to the end of your mat on an angle, so the outer edge of your foot is framing the short end of your mat, and then your right arm comes up toward the sky. Just take a moment to reach that arm up, feel the belly open, feel the whole side of your body. And if you'd like a little more stretch here in your side waist, start to turn your pinky finger forward of your right hand so your palm faces back. And then your arm can reach alongside your right ear toward the front of your mat, pressing down with your foot and reaching away from you with your hand. So stretch as much as you like to here, big inhales. Feel that space. Exhale to feel a little softer here. Once more to inhale and reach. Exhale, rounding yourself down to point toward the ground. Your hand plants back down. Tuck your right toes, set your knee back down. And just take a moment to find your knees again, find your palms again, knowing where we're going next. So we'll go ahead and extend the left leg behind, hovering over the ground. And again, you decide what you need here. So if you need to flex through the heel or the toes, the ball of the foot, and then notice the distribution of the weight in your hands. Grip those fingers, push the ground away, reach with your back foot. And then favor your left hand here, grip the ground with your finger pads, reach or walk your right fingertips to the front edge of your mat, and then your arm reaches up alongside your ear. So just take a moment here to feel that full length, fingertips reaching forward, foot reaching back or heel reaching back. Inhale to feel the most length possible. Exhale the elbow toward the knee under your body. Maybe they touch, maybe they just reach for each other. Inhale to reach out long. And exhale to come in. And we'll do 3 more here. So just let yourself flow with the rhythm of your breath. Feel the abdominals engage and hold you strong. So we're doing lots of cross body work, making sure we use our opposite limbs and also crossing over our left and right sides of our brains. So if we use one side quite often, it's really good to kind of mix it up a little bit. So we'll inhale to reach the arm long, and then plant your right hand down. Oh, sorry, I forgot about this part first. Let's swing the right lower half of the leg out to the side. Plant your right hand down under your shoulder. And then set your left foot down toward the end of your mat, your outer edge of your foot framing the small end of your mat or short end of your mat. And then the left arm comes up toward the sky. So take another moment to settle yourself here, giving yourself a good kickstand in your right leg if you need to. And then just reaching up. Feel the side waist. Perhaps the pinky starts to point forward, feeling a little more stretch. And then maybe your arm reaches alongside your left ear toward the front edge of your mat. So start to push down through your left foot. Reach with your left fingers away from your foot. And big inhale. Take a moment here to feel that openness in the side of your body. One more inhale. And then exhale, round your spine, plant your left hand, tuck your left toes, step back with your right foot coming into plank, and then up and back to downward dog. So pressing into your hands, lengthening your arms, and taking a moment for yourself here. So in through the nose, out through the nose. You could pedal your heels, you could bend your knees, sway your hips, or stay still here. Bringing your hands nice and wide, pull your hands apart to feel some space to breathe in your chest. And then inhale to look between your thumbs. Exhale to hop or step your feet as many times as you need to get to a forward fold. And just take a moment to allow your body to rest over your legs, so it doesn't have to be the most beautiful forward fold ever. It just has to feel really good for you. So bend your knees to soften. Maybe that feels as if your spine can kind of be pulled down toward the ground a little more. You can hold on to your opposite elbows and really let your head swing off the end of your neck. I like to think of the head as a kettlebell, just kind of adding some traction to the upper back. In through the nose, out through the nose. Release your fingers to the ground if you've held onto something. Inhale to half lift, so the palms to your shins. Straighten out the arms. Pull the shoulders away from your ears and look forward a little bit to stretch the shoulders. Exhale the chin to chest, roll down, back to fold. And again, inhale, halfway lift. Lengthening your spine as much as possible, the crown of your head away from your tail, and then fold over when you're ready. This time we'll roll up, so keep your knees bent a lot, hinge your hips a lot, your arms and neck and shoulders are heavy. And just start to push the ground away from you with your feet. Just feeling your feet, caving everything else in, feeling your knees start to straighten, push and raise your torso up. Your shoulders start to roll back away and open the chest, palms forward, the chin lifts. Take a moment to close your eyes and just enjoy this different sensation. Inhale to reach your arms up. And exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Again, inhale to reach your arms all the way toward the sky, big tall stretch. Exhale to fold, soft knees, hands come down all the way toward the ground. Inhale to half lift. And exhale to fold. Make sure your feet are hip width apart, so maybe bring them in a little more, a little less. And start to lean your weight into more of your foot than your toes. So make sure you can wiggle your toes, you still feel contact with your foot. Start to bend your knees and send your hips a little behind you. Inhale to reach your arms alongside your ears. So lifting your torso, lifting your heart upward. Trying to lift the heart up and sit down at the same time. So feel that lift in your back, that kind of squeeze as you try to bring your arms in line with your ears. One more great big breath. Inhale to reach your fingers toward the sky, and exhale, tip your weight forward and fold over your legs. Inhale to rise up, arms reach up with you, big tall stretch. Exhale, hands to heart and back into that kind of sitting position. So we can still wiggle the toes, our hips are back, our heart is lifting up with the encouragement of your thumbs. So just looking forward, feeling a stretch. Inhale, push through your feet, lift your arms up, we'll flow, lift up, and then exhale into that sitting position in the sky, so in the air. So let's come down one more time. Inhale, reaching up. And then exhale, coming down to sit, hands toward the center of the chest. Take a moment to feel your feet. Push your feet down and pull them apart from each other so you can feel kind of your glutes pull apart a little and you feel your thighs engage, you feel your knees. And then look toward the left with your neck, with your gaze. And then perhaps we turn it into a twist. So we start to turn the torso to the left. If it's available to tuck the outside of your right arm toward the outside of your left leg, you can feel free to do that. Just make sure that your knees stay in line. So if it's helpful to step your feet together to really glue those knees together, then try that. And we're just pushing the back of the arm into the side of the leg, lifting, turning the torso. So squeezing into our side body once again. Perhaps you open up your arms nice and wide, feeling a little more squeeze, a little more turn. Inhale. And then exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Turn yourself back and fold over your legs. Enjoy a moment, a breath, soften. Do what you need to do here. Perhaps one more in just a little bit of a swaying motion, a little bit more of a bend of a knee. Inhale to half lift, hands to shins. Reach the spine long. Exhale to fold over your legs. Inhale, come into a standing position, so we'll reach the arms all the way up to get tall. Exhale, hands to heart, come into that sitting shape. So just as if someone has moved a chair and we were just about to sit down. So lifting your heart forward, sending your bum back, feeling that wiggle in your toes so that you can feel where your distribution of the weight is in your foot. And then look to the right with your neck, with your gaze. And then perhaps we turn the torso to the right, and you can still be up nice and high. Or you can lean a little forward, hook the outer edge of your arm on the outside of your right leg. And if it's more helpful to step your feet together, then step your feet together so you can really check on those knees and make sure they stay in line with one another. Turning the chest. If the arm is hooked, maybe you open up both arms like little wings and feel a little twist in your belly. Just another breath or so here. Inhale to reach and open. Exhale, hands to heart. Turn your chest back and fold over your legs. Separate your feet if you brought them together. Inhale to half lift, hands to shins. Exhale to fold as deep as you can. Plant your palms down and hop or step back to a plank. You can be in a kneeling plank if that feels best for you. So you can just lower your knees down. We'll inhale in our plank. Exhale to lean the hips forward, bend the elbows and come down to the belly. Untuck the toes. Feel the heels roll out. The elbows kind of squeeze in a little bit. The heels roll out. And then we inhale to reach ourselves forward and up. Exhale to come back down. And then press your palms into the ground. Lift yourself up onto your knees. Untuck your toes and send your hips back toward your heels. Finding once again one of those child's pose variations or something that works for you. And just 3 nice soft breaths here. Allowing some of those squeezes and flows to sink into your muscles and the memory of your muscles and the memory of your bones. In through the nose and out through the nose if you're feeling a little bit warm. That can be a nice cooling kind of breath. And then reaching your fingertips as far forward as you can, shoulder width apart. Grip into your finger pads so you can pull your hips up off your heels. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back to down dog. Push into your hands, lengthen your arms. Take a moment to play and to shift. Do what you like to do here. One more nice long breath. Bending knees or staying still. You can pull your hands apart, breathe into your chest. Inhale to look between your thumbs and exhale to hop or step toward your hands, coming into a comfortable forward fold so you can really soften up. You can let the neck go. Inhale to half lift, reaching the chest. Exhale to fold, scoop your belly in, fold over your legs. Inhale, push through your feet, rise up or roll up and reach your arms up if that feels nice for you. Catch some air. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. I'll turn myself around so you can see me a little bit better. So we'll bring our feet hip width apart. Hands to heart center, and just start to feel the middle of your chest with your hands and your thumbs. And just shift your weight a little, feel your toes reach up so that you can set them all down and feel a little more kind of steady base underneath you. Shift your weight over to your left foot to bring your right knee to hip height. So we're just going to bring it up to about hip height. Just notice how you feel in this moment, in this balancing shape. Perhaps this is perfect balance for you, and that's great. It's so perfect. Just feeling those little muscles move around in your left foot, in the calf. You can feel them trying to hug the bone. And just settling in once we feel as if we like to perhaps add a little bit more to the stretch. You can inhale to reach your arms up, big scoop. Exhale, hands to heart. Turning your torso toward the right, so the edge of your thumbs, encourage that twist. Your right knee still points forward. Press down through your left foot. See if you can lift yourself up with that push through your foot. And then maybe you're able to turn a little more. So the left hand, if you have a wall and you need it, feel free to touch it. The left hand can come to the outer edge of the right leg, and then the right arm comes behind you. So I'll turn myself around to show an option that you can do. So once you have your hand there and you're opening yourself up, you can start to reach the right arm behind you, and maybe you look in that direction if that's available. If it's better for you to look forward, then feel free to look forward. In through the nose, out through the nose, push down through your left foot. See if that means you can lift your rib cage a little higher than the hips. Just finding a little more energy here, finding a little more access to your core. And just 2 more breaths. Notice that effort, that challenge, maybe even a little discomfort. Oop, and then we'll come back to center. Set your leg back down. If you wiggled a little, that's okay. Just shift your weight a little side to side through your feet. And then we'll go to the other side. So we'll start to push through the right foot, hands to heart, and then lift the left knee to hip height. Take some time here to wiggle your right toes around, to feel them spread, and to also feel some of those muscles wiggling away, attempting to hold us in this space, to hug everything in, to compensate for the wiggles. And then reaching your arms up, big inhale. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Use the edge of your thumb to encourage your ribs to turn to the left, and it doesn't have to go very far. And stay here if this feels right for you. You're just going to keep building here. Or the right hand comes to the outer edge of your left thigh, and then your left arm reaches behind you. Maybe you look in that direction. Perhaps you know, like I do, that it'll help you fall over. So perhaps looking forward or to the side is the best idea today. We can work up to looking behind ourselves. We can work up to closing our eyes. So opening up the chest, just feeling both sides of the body, a little more space in them. And 2 more nice soothing breaths here. Focus on something on the floor, something that's not moving. Let your mind be soft and gentle. And then come back toward the center. Lower the knee back down, plant your feet, and just wiggle yourself a little side to side. See how that feels. Inhale to reach the arms up. And exhale to fold. Feel the breeze as you reach down. Inhale to half lift, hands to shins, arms long. Exhale to fold, scoop your belly in and fold. Perhaps you plant your palms, and if you like a little flow, you can step on back. If you want the knees down, you can keep them down. If you'd prefer them to be lifted, you can lift them. So inhale through your plank. Exhale, push through your toes if your knees are lifted, and then bend your elbows alongside your ribs. Find the tops of your feet, let your heels roll out so that you feel a lot of your foot. And then inhale to reach your chest up, your gaze. Exhale to come down toward the ground. Keep your knees connected, tuck your toes, press the ground away from you to lift your torso, and then come back toward your heels with your toes tucked. So settling back here, walk your hands closer to you if you need to, or stack the fists under your forehead if that feels kind of nice for your upper shoulders. And then feeling those toes tucked, just starting to rock side to side. If you notice one toe is not tucked, you can reach back and tuck that tricky toe. And just feel your breath. The little wiggles through your hips, through your knees, through your bones and ankles. I'm just starting to cool down the body here, so find a longer exhale if you can. Take a nice fresh sip of a breath in, and then attempt to make the exhale twice as long. We'll come back up to all fours. We'll plant the hands under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. You can tuck your toes or not. That's always an option for you. We can inhale to reach the left arm up toward the sky. The back of the hand reaches for the sky. The palm faces down, just like you're opening a wing. And we're still gazing down toward the ground, just a little over from your right thumb. So just a very gentle gaze, feeling length in the neck. And then take an inhale, look toward your left hand, push through your right hand, lift a little higher. And then exhale, sweep your left arm past your right wrist, come onto the shoulder. On your inhale, push into your right hand to lift your left arm back toward the sky. Have a look at it, watch that hand. Lock your gaze onto those fingers and watch those fingers come past the wrist and land back down, going to the right. Lock your gaze, inhale, watch your left fingertips come all the way up, eye on the ball, and then exhale, keep watching the fingertips as they sweep past you, past your mat, and over to the right. Let's do two more, watch your fingers. Don't let go of that focus. Watch those tips, and then exhale, watch your fingers come back through and over to the right. Let's do one more time and we'll land on the shoulder. So keep going. Inhale, push through your right arm, lift the left fingertips. And then sweep them past. Land on the shoulder. Let's stay for a moment here resting on the side of the face, maybe your temple. You could reach the right arm forward toward the end of the mat if that feels cozy. Or you can reach it up toward the sky to open up the shoulder. Take a look under your hips with your mind's eye. I know we can't see them from this position. And see if we can hug the left hip toward yourself. So just hugging it in, kind of squeezing it, and then letting your right hip release a little behind you. So even if you need to kind of push your right hip away and draw your left hip in, notice how that changes things for you. And let's do just a couple more breaths here. Squeezing your left hip in, drawing the right hip out. If the right arm gets tired and it's up high, maybe you bend the elbow and allow the back of the hand to rest toward your left hip. Let the weight of your shoulder, the weight of your torso come into the shoulder. And then releasing the right hand just beside your face, press the ground away from you to lift yourself back up. Plant your hands back down. I'm just going to turn myself around since the wall is here for me. And then just make sure you have room to open up your right arm. So let's inhale to reach the right arm, the back of the hand up toward the sky, opening the wing. And just take a moment to feel here. Your next inhale, push into your left hand, look up toward your right hand, open a little more. And then exhale, keep watching your fingertips sweep past your left wrist and come onto your shoulder, just touching down. Inhale, watch your fingertips reach all the way up toward the sky. Exhale, same thing, locking that focus, eye on the ball, coming down toward the shoulder. Just a couple more times at your own pace. Big inhale, opening up your side waist. For all of those twists and turns, swings. Inhale to reach up maybe one last time. And if you like a little extra flow, always feel free to add a little extra. We'll land on the right shoulder and the side of the face. So maybe the temple, maybe near the ear. Just letting your bones be heavy here into the shoulder. You can walk your left fingertips to the end of the mat if that's cozy, or find just the same shape you did with your right arm on the other side. So maybe the fingertips point toward the sky. And then it's time to check on the hips. So we'll hug the right hip in and draw the left hip out. So notice if you maybe need to put a little more effort into Opening up the left hip, maybe more effort on the right side. And the weight falls into the shoulder. If that top arm gets a little tired, you can bend the elbow and swing it around, kind of setting it into the side of your right hip. It's the back of the hand, so you can keep the shoulder open. And squeezing the hip in, drawing the left hip out. Take another couple of breaths here. And then when it feels about right, when it feels like it's time for you, bring your left hand in front of your face, press the ground away, lift yourself back up to all fours. And then untuck your toes, send your hips back toward your heels, settle into your version of a child's pose. So maybe you're a little lower now and you just stack your hands on top of one another and place your forehead down. If your lower back feels pretty good, you could bring your knees a little farther open. See what feels good for you. And to be totally honest, this is my favorite shape to wiggle the hips. So if you like to rock your hips a little side to side and find a little rocking into your ankles and the tops of the feet, then absolutely try out a little bit of movement. That helps you. Just one more nice, sweet breath here. And then you can start to reach your fingers out just to bring yourself back up to all fours. And the knees come back in, and we'll come up to one last downward dog. So you can tuck your toes, push the ground away, lift your knees, lengthen your arms, push the ground away. The pinkies can be quite wide, so you can place them just so they're on the inside of the mat if it feels nice to have a wider space to breathe in your chest. Pull the mat apart, feel some space, and push your hands away to lengthen the neck. The knees can be bent, the heels can be lifted at all times if they need to be, that's okay. Just take a breath. We'll go through one last little vinyasa if you like to. So inhale, come forward to plank, shoulders over wrists. Keep leaning forward, exhale to lower on your belly. And stay here for a moment, untuck your toes, bring your hands behind you, thumbs point down, pinkies point up. Find the edge of your ribs and see if you can lift your arms and legs. Lift your pinkies to the sky, point your toes, point your fingers toward your toes, maybe lift your gaze, just a squeeze to your back one last time. Inhale, and then exhale to release, hands come in line with your ribs, tuck your toes, come up and back to downward dog. One nice good breath here to settle, and then we'll start to come onto our back. So if you just like to lower your knees down, swing the lower halves of your legs to the side and come down to your hip, and then the legs can come up front. Just scooch yourself down to about halfway down your mat so that you can easily bring yourself down. We'll bring the knees in toward the chest for a little bit of weight and massage for your lower back so we can sway a little side to side. You can draw circles with the knees. Letting your head be nice and heavy, trying to soften into the neck and into the shoulders. And just tossing your knees a little side to side, just finding those right little spots on your lower back that need a little bit of tenderness, a little bit of attention. And then just setting your feet down with your knees bent. One last little position before we come into a little mini Shavasana. So we'll just cross the right thigh over the left. Scoot your hips a little bit over to the left and let your knees fall to the right. If this is a little bit too intense, so it's a little bit different, we're finding quite a pull and a tug in the left side of the hip and the outside of the quad. So if this is a little too intense, we can take the right leg off of the left, give yourself some room with your feet, and just let the knees fall over to that side. But if it feels okay to have that leg wrapped around the top, then just let that leg kind of wrap around and hold your left leg down. Your hands can be open, they can be on you, wherever feels cozy, and just closing your eyes, releasing slowly with your exhale into that tug down the side of your left hip. You might even feel it into the lower back, inserting into the mid back. And just 2 more breaths here, so not too long. Just enough time to undo a little bit of tension. And then push into the inside of your left foot to bring the knees back up. We'll send the hips back toward the center. And then push into your left foot to shift your hips to the right, letting your knees fall to the left. And again, if the twisted up legs is a little too much, we can take our right leg just on top of the left. So you can just kind of stack them and let the knees point to the left. Another couple of breaths, feeling the weight of your body, give a little tug. Maybe you close your eyes and just notice where you feel these sensations. And start to feel more balance in the body. We can feel both sides. And then push into the outer edge of your left foot to bring your knees back up, and we'll uncross. Make sure you center your hips, uncross the legs, and cross your left thigh over your right. We'll shimmy the hips over to the left, to the right, and let your knees fall to the left. Sorry about that. So just to the left, so that little kind of a strange twist. Maybe that's why I sort of it slipped my mind a little bit. And adjust yourself as you need to so you can take that left leg off the right if it's a little too intense. And just let the knees fall over, a little space between your feet. Or feeling a little bit of that weight and just gelling with it for a couple more breaths. Just notice what there is to notice. Maybe there's a little piece of information in there. Something to learn about the body. Your eyes can close, just 2 more sweet breaths. When it feels right, push into the inside of your right foot to bring the knees back up. Shift your hips back to center, and then a little bit over to the left, letting your knees fall to the right. So a little more familiar, perhaps. And if those spinning up legs or or twined up legs are a little too much for you, take that top leg off and just stack them. So you can kind of adjust almost any twist to how your body needs and what it needs at the time. Every day is different. Every practice is a little different too. And just 2 more breaths. And just see what feels right. When it feels like it's time, push into the outer edge of your right foot. Bring your knees back up, hips back to center. Uncross your legs. Take a moment for yourself. Maybe that means you bring your knees in one more time. Give yourself a little rock. And then you can find yourself in a nice final relaxation shape. So perhaps your lower back is needing some more care, and you just bend your knees, let your feet plant, and let your knees fall together. Arms can be open, closed. Or you stretch out your legs nice and long. Open up the palms toward the sky and just allow your body to sink and to melt away from your bones. Toes can roll out, palms can open, thumbs roll away. Breathing through the whole center line of your body and feeling more balance, feeling that we've squeezed and twisted both sides of the body, creating a little more stability, a little more strength. Now it's time to allow the body to bank some of that information, to gain some of that muscle memory and keep it. So that the next time we play a sport, play tennis or golf, or any sort of one-armed practice, we can feel and remember what it's like to feel balanced. So just let yourself sink away with your exhale and know that I will bring you back in just a couple of minutes when it's time to come back. And very slowly, resisting the urge to move and just allowing your breath to be present. Feel that fresh inhale, that long exhale, soft, peaceful. And your shoulders nice and heavy, feeling both shoulder blades rooted into the ground, feeling your hips, the heaviness of the space where your hips meet your spine. And just scanning through the body with your breath, noticing every little dip that's lifted up off the ground and every little place that's connected or rooted. The backs of your knuckles, your heels, your calves. Deepen the breath, feel your ribs and your chest and your belly move, and then start to fall. Maybe your fingers start to wiggle and your toes start to wiggle, spreading the fingers and toes wide, bringing them into little fists if that feels good. Reaching the arms alongside the ears, toes toward the end of the mat, fingers toward the top. And just a big stretch for yourself. And then bring the knees into your chest. Give yourself a little love, a little hug. And then go ahead and rock yourself onto your right side. Use your right arm under your head like a little pillow. And then when you feel ready to bring yourself into seated, lengthen your left leg, press into your left hand, and come up into a seated shape. So maybe a cross-legged seat is good for you. Maybe you have a wall you can lean against. Just close your eyes and sit up tall. I invite you to place one hand on your heart space and one on your belly. Take a big inhale through your nose and a big sigh out of your mouth. My heart is at ease, knowing what's meant for me will not pass me by, and what passes me by was not meant for me. So inhale, reach our arms up, draw a great big circle, and then exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Give yourself a moment of gratitude, of thanks. And Om Shanti Shanti, thank you so much.